Well, my name is David Shands. I'm super happy to be here, man. It's been it's been a blessing to go through not only the wins that I've experienced, but the true blessing has been the trials. And for somebody that's listening, they're thinking it's easy for you to say it on the other side, but I believe that when you get to whatever goal that is that you set out for yourself. However happy you are right now, you'll probably be that same level of happiness. Like when you get stuff, it doesn't make you more happy. I knew some people that were just mean people before they became successful. And now that they're successful, they're just successful, mean people. There's mean and successful. Or people that are greedy or selfish or always trying to get over when they don't have anything. When you reach the level of success that you're looking for, it just amplifies it. But you never really changes the person. So I guess my story begins when I was working at the Cheesecake Factory. Because, I had a normal childhood. I was blessed to have a mother and a father. And my father imparted so much wisdom in me since passed in 2010. But while I was here, he gave me so much to consider. And one of the things I've learned was to always think. So he would ask me, I would ask my dad a question, but he would never really give me an answer. He would always answer my question with a question. So I'm saying, hey, Dad, how do you do this? And he'd reply, well, how do you think? Have you looked at it? Have you tried? What do you think? If I wasn't here, what would you do? So he just taught me to think. Like, let's do what we can in terms of thinking. Because anyone that's listening, they're coming to this event to learn and grow, which is commendable. But there are certain answers that you have inside of yourself, but you'd much rather ask someone else. When you have the answers, you've been through enough. How do you figure something out for your business? Well, how did you figure out how to get out of the situation you were in before the situation you're in right now, if you're in a situation? You just figured it out. Right. So hopefully one thing that people take away from this conversation is to think. But I worked at the Cheesecake Factory for 6 years total. But when I first got there, I didn't think I was going to be there for 6 years. Because I was in a network marketing company. I'm seeing all these successful people. I'm like, I'm going to be successful. But in the meantime, I've got to pay my bills. And before I worked at the Cheesecake Factory, I worked at Olive Garden. Before I worked at Olive Garden, I worked at Applebee's. Before I worked at Applebee's, I worked at Circuit City. Before I worked at Circuit City, I worked at Foot Action. And I've never had any high-level jobs or anything like that, but I needed some money. I always knew I would be successful. I just didn't know how. But when I look back at the timeline of my life, I realized that I never really stayed at a job longer than 10 months. Which was one of the things that helped me to succeed. Because when I got the job at the Cheesecake Factory, my goal wasn't to, okay, I'm going to leave this job. I'm only going to be here for a little bit as a means to an end. My first conversation with myself is, why do I keep quitting everything? Why can't I stay? Why can't I do something for longer than 10 months? So my whole goal was to stay there for at least a year. Because I just looked at my pattern. I'll start, stop. I'll start a job, quit a job, start a job, quit a job. For some reason, about 4 months in, the manager will always get on my last nerve. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. When I'm at a job for a certain period of time, someone's going to make me really, really upset. But I realized it had nothing to do with the job. It had everything to do with me. So my whole goal, let me just stay here. Can I do something consistently for a long period of time? And I proved that will work. But I believe the only thing that really, really helped me succeed was me saying, yo, I keep starting and stopping. And the crazy thing is, it showed up in every area of my life. So relationships, I'll start, stop. Businesses, I'll start, stop. Hobbies, start, stop. Go to the gym, start, stop. So when I finally got to the Cheesecake Factory, I said, this will be the last time I start and stop, at least 12 months. I got to break my record. So I developed consistency. So hopefully there's somebody who's listening to say, yo, that is my story. Forget being successful, learning how to sales, funnels, tactics, networking. Let's just make a commitment for a long period of time to say, I'm going to stay on this path. I'm going to stay on this journey. So I got there and I decided to stay for a while. Fast forward 2.5 years in, 3.5 years in, I'm still working at the Cheesecake Factory, which is good for me. But then I got a little tired because one day I'm cutting bread at this bread station. And if anybody ever been a server, it's just nonstop. You cut bread for tables, you get drinks, all that kind of stuff. So I'm cutting bread for my table. A young lady comes up to me and says, hey, David, what are you doing for your birthday this year? I said, I don't know, because it's around November, December. I said, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I haven't really figured it out. She said, well, let's go back to the club we went to last year for your birthday. I think it'd be fun. Remember, everybody came out last year. We had a good time. I said, okay, why not? So she leaves and says, okay, I'm going to tell everybody this Saturday it's going down for your birthday. We're going to hang out. I said, cool, let's do it. Well, she walks away, but I have a real moment with myself. And I think, wow, I'm about to celebrate my birthday at the same place I celebrated it last year, which is nothing wrong with that. But I'm going to be celebrating with the same people at the same place that I celebrated my birthday with last year. Again, there's nothing wrong with celebrating your birthday, same place, the same people. But the situation was the same, because I know when we go there, we're all going to chip in and put money in a pot so that we can have a good time at the club. We're going to get a section at the club. So we're going to put money in. And I don't have enough money to do it myself, so we're going to have to make the collection, and we're going to have to do it again this year. I'm driving the same car. This is what hit me. After work, I got off work with my tips. I go to the ATM to take my cash to put it in the ATM machine. And when I put my cash in the ATM machine, a receipt comes out. But the receipt said my bank balance was less than the amount that I put in. So let's say, for instance, I put in $150. The ATM says I have 100, but I put 150 in, which means before I got there, my account was overdrawn. I had less money than I started with. But I had a deja vu moment, because last year around that time, the same thing happened. I was overdrawn in my account. I'm bugging at this point. I'm like, yo, I've literally been in the same position for the last 12 months and nothing's changed. I could literally have gone to sleep or gone to prison for a year, get out, and nothing changed about my life but my age. That's a challenge. I had a real moment. Like, I believe life is accumulation of these moments and experiences. And if you really honor and respect these moments and you have a realization like, David, what is wrong with you? Why? For 12 months, I made maybe $35,000 that year. Out of $35,000, I spent every single dime. Something had to change. So I started this t-shirt brand called Sleep is for Suckers. And it was a t-shirt brand geared towards entrepreneurship and people that lose sleep doing what they love, because I felt like I had slept for an entire year. Sleep, knocked out. And it was time, I had an awakening where something had to change. But then I looked over the last 3.5 years and I tried a whole bunch of different hustles. I tried everything to make some money. But then I realized, oh, wow, I'm doing it again. Even though I stayed at my job for 3.5 years now, I broke that record. I still had the habit of starting, stopping. I said, not this time. Fast forward 2.5 years later, I was able to be consistent in building my t-shirt brand. I was able to quit my job 2.5 years after building consistently and open a kiosk in a mall. Then I opened a second kiosk, and I opened a store. And from there, every single year has been progress. But I learned it from initially setting a goal of staying at my job for 12 months and then having an awakening and respecting it and saying, okay, the next 3.5 years are not going to look like the last 3.5 years. But that process never changes. I believe I'm doing well. This year is the best year I've ever had. And last year was the best year I've had before this year. And every year I've had a better year. But my promise to myself is that I do better this year than last year, next year than this year. Because I don't ever want to feel like I can go 12 months in a coma or in jail or sleep and wake up in the same exact position. But I'm just getting older, just a little closer to death. That's a problem. So now I go around the country and I teach and I speak, and I have a community now where literally it's, almost 400 people join every single morning from all across the country. And Monday through Friday, we get on a call and I teach entrepreneurship. Some people talk about bringing the community together. I actually bring the community together every single morning. Well, I think we had 370 people this morning. We'll have about the same. And it just continues to grow. But my whole goal is growth. But you can't grow without activity. And you can't grow without consistent activity. Because some of us are busy, but we're busy doing all kind of stuff. And we're not growing at all. But it has to be consistent. So that's pretty much my story in a nutshell. And I've just learned so much through the process. I'm not trying to be successful, not trying to make money, but trying to be a better me every year. So this morning I talked on our call about this month's whole theme is about being better. And we're just talking about what areas do you need to get better in? Because here's one thing that's not going to happen. Whatever I fall short in this year, it won't trip me up next year. So for some of us, it's your temper, and your temper ruins every relationship. Meaning last year, your temper ruined some relationships. This year, your temper is probably going to ruin some relationships and you're going to blame it on somebody else. But if we don't put a magnifying glass on our lives and say, I need to control my temper. This is a problem. First step, this is a problem. What areas do I need to improve on? And we have to self-assess. And that's why every single year, things have been, God has blessed me to get better every single year. And every single year I can tithe more, which is number one goal for me. So that is my story in a nutshell.